The Arizona sun beats down relentlessly. It powers a booming new industry, microchip manufacturing. Gleaming factories rise from the desert floor, promising innovation and jobs. Yet in the shadows of this progress, a different reality unfolds. Along dusty roads, under sparse Palo Verde trees, and in sprawling encampments, thousands of people are struggling to survive. They are Arizona's homeless population, a stark contrast to the state's technological ambitions. This is a story of incredible growth and deep, painful neglect, existing side by side. The desert landscape, while beautiful, can be unforgiving, especially for those without shelter from its extremes. This juxtaposition defines Arizona's current dilemma. The scale of homelessness in Arizona is alarming and growing. Recent point-in-time counts reveal a troubling upward trend. In Maricopa County, home to Phoenix, the unsheltered homeless population has surged dramatically in recent years. Statewide figures paint a similar grim picture, with thousands lacking a safe place to call home. These are not just numbers, they represent individuals, each with a story, facing daily uncertainty. The official counts often underestimate the true scope, as many individuals experiencing homelessness remain hidden, trying to avoid attention or danger. This makes tackling the problem even more complex, as the full extent is difficult to grasp with complete accuracy. The intense Arizona heat is not just an inconvenience, it is a lethal threat to those living on the streets. Year after year, the number of heat-related deaths among the homeless population climbs. In 2023, Maricopa County reported a record number of such fatalities, many occurring during the brutal summer months when temperatures soar well above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. For those without access to air conditioning or even adequate shade and water, the relentless sun becomes a silent killer. Dehydration, heat stroke, and exacerbation of existing health conditions are constant dangers. The pavement itself can reach temperatures capable of causing severe burns, a hidden peril for anyone forced to sit or lie on it. A significant driver of this crisis is the skyrocketing cost of housing. Rents across Arizona have increased at a pace far exceeding wage growth. This makes it incredibly difficult for low-income individuals and families to keep up. When an unexpected expense arises, a medical bill, a car repair, many find themselves unable to pay rent. Eviction processes can be swift, pushing people out of their homes with little time to find alternatives. The dream of affordable housing has become increasingly elusive for a growing segment of the population, turning a temporary setback into a prolonged period of homelessness for too many Arizonans. The gap between wages and housing costs is a chasm many Arizonans cannot cross. While the state attracts new businesses, the jobs created often do not pay enough to cover basic living expenses, especially rent. Minimum wage and even median incomes in many sectors have not kept pace with the rapid appreciation in the rental market. This economic squeeze forces families to make impossible choices: pay rent or buy food, seek medical care, or keep the lights on. Eviction filings remain high, a constant reminder of the precarious situation faced by renters. Assistance programs, though available, are often overwhelmed by demand and insufficient to cover the full cost of housing in this inflated market. This crisis is not confined to major urban centers like Phoenix and Tucson. Homelessness is a growing concern in Arizona's rural communities and on tribal lands as well. Resources in these areas are often even more scarce than in cities. Limited shelter options, fewer social services, and transportation challenges make it harder for individuals in rural areas to find help. On Native American reservations, long-standing issues of inadequate housing infrastructure are compounded by these new economic pressures. The unique cultural and geographical contexts in these communities require tailored solutions, but they often face a lack of funding and attention, leaving many vulnerable residents with nowhere to turn. Housing in Arizona has become profoundly unaffordable for several interconnected reasons. The demand for housing has surged due to population growth and an influx of new residents, but the supply of affordable units has not kept up. Low vacancy rates give landlords significant leverage to increase rents. Investors, both large corporations and smaller individuals, have also entered the market, sometimes buying up properties and further driving up prices. This market dynamic creates a situation where even modest apartments are out of reach for many working individuals and families. The dream of homeownership is even more distant, trapping more people in a volatile rental market. The faces of homelessness in Arizona are diverse, but certain groups are disproportionately affected. Families with children are an increasingly visible part of the homeless population, a heartbreaking reality. The instability of homelessness can have devastating long-term impacts on a child's development, education, and health. Veterans who have served our country too often find themselves without a home due to challenges like PTSD, disability, or difficulty transitioning to civilian life. Individuals with chronic health conditions, including mental illness and substance use disorders, are also at high risk, as stable housing is crucial for managing their health effectively. Across Arizona, various organizations and government bodies are working to address the homelessness crisis. Social service agencies provide outreach, case management, and connections to resources. During the brutal summer months, cooling centers open up, offering a life-saving reprieve from the extreme heat, providing water and a cool space for anyone in need. Emergency shelters offer temporary beds, though demand far outstrips supply. Housing programs, including rapid rehousing initiatives and permanent supportive housing projects, aim to provide more stable, long-term solutions. These efforts are staffed by dedicated individuals working tirelessly, but they are often operating with limited resources against an overwhelming tide of need. Despite these efforts, significant gaps persist in the safety net. Shelters are frequently full, with long waiting lists, forcing many to remain on the streets. Cooling centers, while vital, are temporary fixes and usually only operate during daytime hours, leaving people vulnerable overnight. The sheer number of individuals needing assistance means that even the most effective programs can only reach a fraction of the homeless population. There's a critical shortage of truly affordable housing units across the state. Without addressing this fundamental lack of supply, temporary measures can feel like applying a bandage to a much deeper wound, unable to stop the bleeding. The legal and budgetary landscape also presents complex challenges. Some local ordinances, such as those restricting urban camping, can make life even harder for people experiencing homelessness, pushing them into more remote and dangerous areas without addressing the root causes. Conversely, some new state laws aim to streamline the development of affordable housing or provide more tenant protections. However, budget allocations for homeless services and affordable housing development often fall short of what is truly needed to make a substantial impact. The scale of the problem requires a much larger and more sustained financial commitment from all levels of government. The end of pandemic-era aid programs has further exacerbated the crisis. Enhanced unemployment benefits, eviction moratoriums, and emergency rental assistance provided a crucial lifeline for many struggling Arizonans during the COVID-19 pandemic. As these programs have expired, many individuals and families who were barely managing have found themselves tipping over the edge into homelessness. This sudden removal of support systems has strained existing resources even further, contributing to the recent surge in homelessness numbers. It highlights how effective robust social safety nets can be, and conversely, how devastating their absence is for vulnerable populations. Arizona's homelessness crisis is a deadly convergence of factors: extreme heat, insufficient affordable housing, and inadequate support systems. The unforgiving desert climate magnifies the dangers of living without shelter in a way few other places in America experience. Housing policies that favor market-rate development over affordable options have led to a critical shortage. Limited funding for comprehensive services means that even the best intentions cannot meet the overwhelming demand. This combination creates a perfect storm where each factor intensifies the others, leading to tragic outcomes, including preventable deaths and widespread human suffering. It is a crisis that demands more than incremental changes. It requires a fundamental shift in priorities. The real people affected by this crisis are not abstract statistics. They are children whose educations are disrupted, veterans who feel abandoned, and individuals battling illness without the stability of a home. We hear stories of parents skipping meals so their children can eat, of elderly individuals losing their homes after a lifetime of work due to rising rents or medical bills. These are our neighbors, members of our communities. Their resilience is remarkable, but they are facing conditions that would challenge anyone. The human cost is immeasurable, extending beyond immediate suffering to long-term societal impacts on health, education, and economic productivity. While many American cities grapple with homelessness, Arizona's situation is particularly acute due to its extreme climate. Cities like Los Angeles or New York face immense housing challenges, but the immediate, life-threatening danger posed by 115-degree heat is a uniquely southwestern peril. This environmental factor adds a layer of urgency that cannot be overstated. Solutions that might be slowly implemented elsewhere need to be fast-tracked in Arizona because lives are quite literally on the line with every passing heat wave. The state cannot simply copy-paste solutions from other regions. It must innovate and adapt to its specific environmental and social realities. Arizona stands at a critical juncture. The choices made now will determine whether this crisis deepens or if a path towards meaningful solutions can be forged. Urgent reforms are needed in housing policy to incentivize and fund the creation of truly affordable housing. Investments in comprehensive support services, including mental health care and substance abuse treatment, must be scaled up significantly. Proactive measures to prevent homelessness, such as robust rental assistance and eviction prevention programs, are essential. Without bold, decisive action and substantial, sustained investment before the next inevitable heat wave, more lives will be tragically lost. The time for incremental steps is over. Arizona must choose to address this humanitarian crisis with the urgency it demands.